what are the new things that Claude Code introduced which we didn't know? One is they added file system access, which was forbidden for all the agents before. The agents cannot access or never try to access your file system. But if you want me to do work, the work requires some kind of files that you store on your PC, and I can store it, I can retrieve it. You can do close by things, and other things which computers do all the time, or we do as engineers to find the relevant context. And this context also doesn't come costly because it runs on your own CPU of your machine. Welcome again. I'm Mahesh. If you don't know me, I've worked at all the main companies and I built by the first framework to build agents. And I think I missed the next wave of building agentic framework, which Claude Code built. And it's pretty different than what I built. So that's that's pretty exciting for me. And I will show you what I built and how I thought about building a framework that you can use to build agents and what's different today. So that's what I did at AWS. At Google, I was a product manager where I automated the Google Cloud platforms with agents. So think of Google Cloud, legal, marketing, sales teams, and I build a platform that they can use to build agents for themselves. And before that, I worked at Facebook in PyTorch, distributed training. So I understand a lot about large language models, how to train them, how to build them, what the infrastructure looks like. I am also teaching for a long time. I have been a Teals instructor where I go to schools and teach high school students how to program. I did that for 3, 4 years when I was at Microsoft. And in 2021, I created a course on recommendation system when I was at Facebook or Meta. And since 2023, I am doing these sessions every Friday to make sure all of us can learn and grow into Agentic AI. I also teach courses on Maven, but that's not that much fun because Kamal can tell you that it's very hard and it's a lot of work to do. So don't go there, just have fun on Fridays and enjoy because we make you work very hard in that cohort. And she was like, I won't join this again. This is so much work. I'm like, okay, thank you. That was a good pitch. I will use it on Friday. With all that said, what's the agenda today? I will discuss what is Claude Co-Work, how to use it to disrupt your own work or how to delegate work to it and how to use it more productively. And more is how to see this as a tool or a new product that is the latest way agentic AI is going to impact your world, my world, and the whole economy. And then we will go under the hood, which is understand how it works and what are the new things that it can do. And with that new things, what can you imagine in the product space? What is possible? What's not possible? So that's the real deal. So this is what, this is so what, this is now what. And hopefully, I give you a lab or walk you through a lab where you can use it to build your own assistant, which can actually do some amazing things. So let me show you what it will be able to do. I can come here and just set it up and launch it. What it does is it goes in and it will show you in 2 minutes that it will start looking for my kind of jobs that I want to apply. And then it will go and say, hey, great, let me just go and file those jobs. So all of you spend a lot of time going and searching for jobs and then it and then applying them. This agent will go and do that for you. So now what you will see is that it will open up browsing sessions once it is done planning, and it will go to different websites and start applying for my jobs, fill all the crazy forms that they ask it to, create the accounts if it needs to, and you will see it found 10 job matches. And now you will see in a second that it will go ahead and start applying for these roles also. So now you see that it has opened a browser here, which it will start opening the jobs. If it doesn't find the job, it will find relevant jobs accordingly and go and continue doing the job. So just open this browser and you will see it will start applying the jobs next. So first it is going and applying for this job, which is Salesforce Director PM. Then next it will go and apply this one, then Scale AI jobs, then Freshworks. And I can just allow it to do browser actions all along. And now it sees that the page not found. Then it will go and say, great, let me think more. Seems like job one is no longer available, skipping it and moving to job two, which is what you would have done. But at this point, this is the agent which does all of this work for you. So now it sees another job. It clicks the apply now button. By the way, I'm not doing anything. This is the agent. So just giving you an idea. So that's the world you live in. And hopefully I will be able to show you and talk to you about how this works and how is it able to do all this cool stuff. So at the same time, it has gone ahead and opened this second job of senior director. It's asking you to autofill you with the resume, with my resume, and it will go and start filling this with my resume. So it will upload my resume next and keep going. Good. That's the thing. Hopefully you will be able to do by end of next 20 minutes. And I will walk you through how I set this up. So let's get started. So what's new in Agentic AI? Before this, we were talking about multi-agent systems. I talked about multi-agent systems and I talk about orchestration, memory, how you need to build an orchestration layer, a memory layer. So we have this, which is before this, if before November 2025, if you wanted to build an agentic app, the user assigns a job, you wrote the code or you wrote the prompts of an orchestration agent, which allows you, which had a memory where you collected all the context needed to solve that job. And then you assigned the job to different agents. The agent updated the memory. And then you wrote the code saying, hey, is the job done or not? And when it is done, you go back to the user. Obviously, you follow some guardrails. And after that, you go back to the user, say the job is done. But the work that you need to do or your engineering team need to do is all of this work, which is in white. You write the orchestration, you write the memory, and you write memory means context, getting the right context to solve that job. In my case, what my strategy for job is, where my resume is, where they should look for jobs. All that context gathering is the job of your team or your agent. And then checking if the job is done, that's also your code. And orchestrating it is also your job. All those was your custom code or your secret sauce you build to build these agents. But what happened in 2020, late 2025, early 2026 is all this is coming inside the agent. So there is this idea of agent loop. That's what Agentic SDK that Claude released. So what this does is it automatically gathers context, take action, and verifies the work, and then continues on this path forever, unless the job is done. So instead of you writing whole of this, you can use the Agent SDK, which is trained on many things and has access to some of the internal action tools, and it can do all this with a simple 3-line code. Once you have this SDK, what Claude did is they applied this SDK and built Claude Code. And everybody knows Claude Code. Claude Code is a coding agent. What it does is if you give it a coding job, then it gathers the context, writes the code, verifies the code is working, and then gathers more context if it needs and continue doing it unless it writes the awesome code, right? So first, they use this agent SDK or agent loop. And then second, what they did is they said, hey, let's apply it to the coding jobs and release Claude Code. And Claude Code became the awesome thing. What are the new things that Claude Code introduced, which we didn't know? So Claude had three things. Claude has three things. One is obviously you can do chat, then code, Claude Code, and then co-work. Good. And we just understood that new agentic SDK, which is you can say what can you get from OpenAI or Claude, Claude or OpenAI, Anthropic or OpenAI, you can say, are giving you now the three capabilities. One, context engineering. You need not to do it, they will do it for you. Or at least they give you enough that you can do it faster. You can take action, you can verify work. But before I go forward, two or three main things. that happened in this? What Claude Code and Co-Work do specially better than anything else? What is the main things that changed? Let me
Access
to
to.
first talk context. Let's say you wanted to take context. What you did is, hey, you had a semantic search. This is what the whole world was talking about, this RAG and all. RAG, agentic RAG. All the semantic search is nothing but given a given a text, I can create a machine learning, machine-based representation and then find adjacent text to it. So I can do better than the keyword search. And that's how we were getting context from your documents, from your life, whatever you upload. We find that context, we give it, right? So that's how the world worked before. So I had context of this. I can also have multi-agents, and each agent can have its own context or its own RAG system and memory, right? Then what's new here? One is they added file system access, which was forbidden for all the agents before. The agents cannot access or never try to access your file system. But they said, hey, give me your file system, because if you want me to do work like humans, because I can do chit chat without anything and I can search my own databases, do RAG on it. But if you want me to do work, the work requires some kind of files that you store on your PC, and I can store it, I can retrieve it. And that's a killer feature, because once you have a file system, you can run basic commands like grep, you can do close by things, and other things which computers do all the time, or we do as engineers, to find the relevant context. And this context also doesn't come costly because it runs on your own CPU of your machine, right? Which we will talk in actions. So then in actions also, they give scripts. They can write scripts and they can run bash commands. Bash commands is command line commands. So which is what you do when you go to command line. Anybody understand command lines? Everybody understand what is the command line? So write CMD in your Windows or open terminal. That's so now they have actions. Earlier we had actions is like tools and MCP server. These were already there, but they offered this new way. So now you can write scripts on my computer and run them too. So now you can take actions on my computer. Now you can also do browsing through tools. So browser is a tool, right? And I can search through this file system, gather a lot of context, take action, and then at the verification also, I can write different rule-based scripts if I have done the job. They also put LLM as judges to make sure that the judges that we are good or not. And then they define some own heuristic rules. And this is the best of their learnings. And they package it all in this SDK. So you need not to do anything under this. And all this is the capabilities does exist, and they can plan and do the work for you. So if you're building a new app in 2026, you can make these action, the context management is coming out of box, action is coming out of box, and verification of the work is coming out of box. Earlier, if you want to do it, your engineers need to do all of this, which you were evaluating, which you were saying, hey, let's do which actions to control. It's adding a lot of actions out of box. It's giving you your file system context out of box, and it's verifying the work for you. So you need not to go and do the verifications. And that's the secret sauce behind it. And that's what, if you have all of this, then you can build a tool like Claude Code, which beats Cursor, because Cursor doesn't have access to your bash scripts. Means at least at that time it didn't. Now they also copied everything. So bash scripts, running command line, having access to your file system beyond what you provided, or it's what you provided. And then on top of it, somebody wrote Co-Work. What is Co-Work is nothing but Claude Code is for, it runs in terminal. It's for engineers. It has engineering like command line and do all the things in command. It's boring. Co-Work has a UI element. So you can see what it is doing. You can look at the context and you can provide the context in natural way, which is just uploading files rather than saying, hey, create this plot.md file and all that. So they made it easy Agent SDK created Claude Code. Code was created on top of Agent SDK. Co-worker is created on top of Claude Code. So now you can do things even more easier. And now you're here, the persona is a developer. Here, the persona is PMs. Anthropic released a video where they showed how their PMs use co-work, how their legal team use co-work, how their marketing and sales use co-work. So I was talking to a customer yesterday. They are a legal team, and they were saying that they bought these tools like Spellbook. Anybody heard of those? So they had a Harvey subscription, they had a Spellbook subscription, and they were struggling to get onboarded. And then they were having only limited things. They can only do redlining with Spellbook, which is like negotiate contracts. But then they changed to co-work, and now they are like full on, and they are doing insurance negotiations. They are doing searching their insurance documents and finding how can they negotiate insurance price better, because they need not to bind themselves to a particular provider which solves for this, because this is coming automatically solved. So as a user, you can just get a $25 subscription. And if you got the $25 subscription, then you can create your own agents inside the company, which helps your different teams. And that's why pretty much last 2 weeks, everybody's calling me and saying, Mahesh, my CEO has told that everybody get Claude subscription, Claude Code subscription. And with Claude Code subscription, everybody should be able to automate their work, at least 30% of work. And if you don't do it, then you will be let go. So can you come to our company and just do a quick training on how can we use skills or build skills on top of Claude Co-Work for our HR team, for our hiring team, for our legal team? So I'm like, yes, that's the time. Thank you. But because it's becoming so easy, and that's what the expectation is pushed on these. Before that, if you wanted to do it before this Agent SDK in 2025, then the modus operandi was hire a third party company like Spellbook or even us to go and build this for you, this whole thing for you, which I was showing you the orchestration, the memory management, and all. But now you can use co-work and get most of this work done. What this also causing is a disruption on how people will get the work done. That's what you have seen when Wall Street see what's happening here. What they are saying is that, hey, custom software, custom software building, software tools or software systems, which basically did this work of getting the context, taking actions, verify and get it done, needs to be rewritten or needs to be thought again. And that's where you are seeing the stocks of all these companies are down like 40-50%, because everybody's thinking that this is the new way. When co-work also connected to Microsoft Excel and Microsoft PowerPoint, they launched those connectors. That meant that now co-work can go and do the work that a human does, because everybody's using Office, some version of Office 365. And if they have Office 365, then it's just a prompt. And on top of prompt, I can automate now a lot of things. So I might not need a software which used to just do my financial modeling, because I can do it with co-work. So that's what's happening. I gave you a TLDR. Let me walk you through a lab on how can you use it. And when you use it, where will you find this whole idea of context, actions, MD? And I will touch scratch at least the skills part, so all of you are on same page. Or you can continue building these with much more fidelity than what you do today. That's my goal. So let me share my screen and we'll walk you through a lab that we created. So my job, it's still applying for my jobs. It's still working very hard. I think it reached the JPMC. Most of the jobs are no longer available. So maybe uh, all of you have taken all the jobs. So best of luck. Keep doing that. Well done, team. You rock. So let's come back to our deck. And so this is the agentic loop. These are the things I talked about. So it can go, how Claude Code works is it can gather context through file system, semantic search. It also has sub agents. So it can create its own agents and then delegate work to that. Once it get all of this context, it can compact it automatically. So the context is a limited commodity. You can compact it, and that compaction algorithm or compaction prompts are also given out of box through this Agent SDK. Actions can be taken by tools, bash scripts, code generation, and model context protocol. And then I put this diagram of what a detailed version of this looks like, which is what does tools do, what does orchestration do in this one. And all this is part of the SDK. So you stay at this level, and these jobs can be done behind the scenes automatically. So gather context, all of you saw file system, semantic search, then sub agents. This is like, okay, if I want to do something, which is a research on what jobs should apply. So instead of doing it with one agent, I can spin 5 agents and look at different jobs or different portals and then do it faster. So that's the idea of creation of sub agents. And that's coming out of box in this SDK. And then once I have all the context, I can compact this context. So I'm saving you token money and also making sure that the most relevant context is going to the model. Taking action, you can create tools, you can have bash scripts, you can have code generation. So at runtime, you can create code, and then obviously you can connect all the MCP server, which Claude or you have already gathered. Then you can verify your work. You can define your own rules in plain English, and then it will go and check for those rules. Or you can take visual feedbacks, and it will go and check if HTML is done or correctly or not, or rendering is done correctly. And in the end, it also has an LLM as a judge to check the work that your team has done or you are doing. Okay, then, if that's all, then how can you use it? Or how can you set it up? This lab we are giving all of you for, of course, free because you're here. But this talks about what is Claude Co-Work. Then it talks about how to install it. What can you do? These are all the things. Of course, I didn't talk about you can automate your job search, which I built, but you can do all these and many more things. And in this one, then I say, hey, if you want to run it with me, then first thing I want is if you want to create a agent which automatically find and apply jobs for you, then you create a strategy. I gave you instruction on how to create an awesome strategy if you're in job market. So what is your guiding policy? So this is the kind of context these agents need. So you can use mine as a reference and create your own strategy. Once you have the strategy, then I don't need much from you because then I can just give it my CV and my strategy. And then you say, okay, you create a folder. In that folder, you put your strategy, your resume, and if you can put some of the jobs that you applied in last one day, for an example, in a CSV file, these are the 3 files I need. And then what you can do is you can go and say, hey, you know what? Stop what you're doing, waiting for something right now. 7 closed, rest 3 applied. Awesome. So what you can do is you can start a new task like this, and then here you can provide that folder. So I have this job context folder. So if you look at what's inside my job context folder, I give it 3 things. So because I was just applying for these, but if you look at it, it has this one we can delete. So this one it just created because I ran it, but I can delete it and then you will see. So 3 things, your resume, your job strategy, your resume, and some of the jobs that you applied in past. That's pretty much all I need from you. Recommended jobs applied. So you can put that in the context. So I have this recommended jobs. I don't need that because it will create it. So if you can put these 3 files, that's all the context this agent will need from you. Then you can come here and give it access to that folder, which I was talking about, the file system access. So it will not have access to whole of your file system. It will only have access to this folder, right? Once you have that, then we can go back to our lab and see what next we want to do in that. So in this, we give you a prompt. And in this prompt, what you can do is first prompt just goes and does research and find jobs for you. So this prompt will go do a research, and then create a recommended jobs.csv file. So once I create let's go, it gets to work. And now what it's going to do is it's going to search all the world and create 20 awesome jobs for me. Find 20 awesome jobs for me. Once it is done, then it will go and also apply them, which I was showing you, which is another prompt. So once it is done, what you will be able to do is you will be able to go and say, hey, you can see so on the right hand side, what you are seeing is this is their plan. This is the orchestration piece. This is the context it is taking. So it has its instruction. It has created its own Claude.md file, which is the instructions. And right now it's just parsing the PDF skill that it is using. But you will see that it will keep changing these as it goes along. And you see that it's running some scripts on my machine. So it's using the tools, and it has read my resume. It has created a job strategy, and it was just using those scripts to create its own context. Now it will call actions or create. So now it has called this action of connector. It's doing the web search. And in the web search, it will go and find all of the things. Like if you click here, you can see what it is doing. It's doing its searches around these two positions. And right now it has got 0 results, but you will keep seeing that these are the action it's taking. That's what in actions it's doing. And once these actions are done, you will see that. So now you can see that it has gone to Glassdoor, it has gone to Archive, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Bullshift. And these are the titles I was looking for. So it will keep going and looking and taking these actions, compacting the context, and then keep trying until it gets what I need. Once it is done, you can give this prompt, which is the second prompt, and you say, hey, you have this CSV file. Here is my resume. Why don't you analyze my resume, match it with each job in CSV, open each job link in the browser tool, give me through submitting each application step by step. And if job does not load or is not found, skip it and move to the next job link. Good. So then it will go and keep applying jobs. And if it doesn't find it, it will keep moving to the next one. So that could be your first project. And if you did it great, then you will get a whole lot through our resources, which is we have more labs, which we will share the link soon. Hopefully, Sachin can put the link where you can also do market research, where if you have data, you can create dashboards. If you have a simple bug to be fixed, you can go and call it to fix your bugs. All that is now a prompt away. With that said, we are going to do AIPM interview bootcamp because now you have all applied for these jobs. Now you need to get ready for these jobs also. Hopefully you get calls after this lab. Then you need to get ready for these. Here I share like what it takes to crack AI APM interviews. I talk basic stuff on product sense and execution, but for that I invite other people to talk. But I will talk what it takes to build a right case study. Pretty much every job is a case study these days. And then what is a system design interview entails, and how can you land or decide which areas to focus, and then build the right strategy to succeed in that area. Also, because OpenClaw is cool, so we will be using this and building our own assistant in OpenClaw. OpenClaw is basically, they did the same thing. What you saw Claude Code did. Claude Code was saying that we can do it, this agent loop. They said we can do the agent loop with this SDK and open source it also. So you can see how the code is done. And they build the connectors and the whole system on it. So we will talk about OpenClaw. We will reverse engineer OpenClaw so that if anybody asks you how OpenClaw works or how new Agentic AI work, you can create the diagrams and show them with OpenClaw example, which how they manage memory, how they manage context, how they call actions, and how they secure the system also. If you join, then you can get a Mac Mini shipped to you or $650 off. So that's great. And then we will be doing another product management certification, and you can get both of these today at 3,000. That's the deal our sales made. So if you want, generally what happens is when people look at both the courses, they have this thing that I want to do both. So we are giving both for the price of one. So that's coming. And whole of that content also is going to be revised. So at least 50%. If you want to keep joining these sessions, you can subscribe right here. And we will keep inviting you to all free Friday sessions because that's where all the magic will happen. At least you will stay on top of all these trends and keep learning what is latest, greatest, and how it's impacting the work that you are doing. If that's all, then I just want to thank you. And here is the link to all the resources. Here you will find all our free sessions. Please join our Substack, Slack channel, YouTube channel, and this is the website where our alums have gone and created a system where they can automatically apply jobs for you. If this Claude Co-Work doesn't work, we also have a company which does it for you. These are humans backed systems. So they will guarantee that they file 20, 30 jobs for you and automate this. And you can bonus labs on Claude Code are here. So you can see getting started. You can get set up and you can create your own visuals. And we'll give you more labs that automate your world. And if you join the course, hopefully out of it, you will get a personal assistant with all the skills that a PM needs with very high fidelity and accuracy. With that said, that's all I had for today. See ya.